You know I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving it. I'm losing it, I'm moving it. The city is where I'm made, Bostonian flow, I kick it a back day. Yeah, I got game, got in a fan way. We the city of the champs, every sport we play. Spit wetter than the harbor, yeah, I'm flowing like the Charles. I be speeding on this beat, call it Turnpike Miles. Yeah, it's Google signing on, John to the Hancock, and I'm always key, I'm ready to unlock. I be doing big things.
Welcome back, everyone, to the newest edition of Once a Week. I'm Billy Janeludis. You know him. He is Peter Panopoulos. Go check out all of our other episodes together, guys, because we're trying to bring you a deeper level of knowledge. Heck, I'm even going to call it a deeper level of wisdom when it comes to your own self-improvement, your own self-growth, or even other concepts. Like we're going to touch on a little bit today, business knowledge. Peter runs his own business, I run my own business, and there's certain concepts that continue to pop up, which at first glance will look like incredible opportunities. But as we're going to touch on today, what's the gut feeling behind it? Should you step into this? Should you not step into this? Is it negative? Should I really move forward with it? Or is everything telling me no, and yet I still take steps towards it? I can connect to so many different areas of life. But it being one of the videos of the new year, it is January right now, a couple weeks in the new year, at the time of this filming, we want to bring to you this concept of why the resolution is out and why the quote-unquote ruler is in. And we're going to expand on that a little bit more. But Peter, thanks for being here, brother. How you been?
I'm doing wonderful, man. Thanks for having me again.
Of course.
And, it's been great doing this. And yeah, I mean, with the new year, it's so important, especially, we talk about it all the time, as going to the gym.
Yep.
These the people who do the resolutions, they'll stay in for 2 weeks and then they're out.
Yes.
Right. And again, it's a practice to not say I'm going to wait until this point like everybody does, and then I'm going to go as far as I can, and then I'm just going to say, hey, maybe I'll try it again next year. The ruler that we're talking about is you. The ruler that we're talking about is the person, the soul inside of your body saying, what am I going to attract towards me? What is attracting towards me that I don't feel as though I should be holding on to or pursuing? Letting it go as quickly as possible, and then just continually pursuing more and more towards the things that keep you happy. Because that emotion is something that is going to guide you in life. And happiness and unhappiness and depression and anxiety, and these are things that we talk about a lot. These are the pieces that are the map, the treasure map to your success. And the treasure map to your success is aligning with yourself in the best way possible, really building a foundation for yourself and your family and the people around you to be able to get your time back. And how do you get your time back? You get your time back by listening to yourself and removing the things that no longer serve you, and removing the past habits and things that we hold inside of us in order to pivot our reality.
Talk about powerful intro. That was packed with some information. Let's expand on it, guys. So these are kind of the key points we want to bring into today's message for you to help you grow in all these areas. But to kind of, wherever you might be hitting this from a starting point, you might be a New Year's resolutioner. I'm ecstatic for you. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, hey, you're like one of the others. No, good for you. You want to create a change in your life. Coming from a coaching background where the whole goal is personal development and self-improvement, you have all these people that create a New Year's resolution, but they don't create a new rule to live by for themselves. Hence what Peter was just touching on with you being the ruler of your life. So when someone comes to me like, hey, Bill, this is my New Year's resolution, this is my goal, whether it's a gym side of it where I want to lose weight, or maybe it's, I really want to reach my financial goals this year, or I want to really put depression behind me this year. I want to live my best life. When we set a goal for ourselves, we need to understand, and I think you do, I know you do, I know I do, because it took me a while to grasp it. We need to understand that when you set a goal for ourselves, there needs to be some aspect of action behind it. So if we use the gym example, where you set a goal, I want to lose 20 pounds by spring, whatever it is, and your action step could be going to the gym, your action step could be changing your diet, whatever it looks like for you, that's phenomenal. But if the rules that run through your mind in the daily patterns, the focus points, the habits that you follow, If those rules that you live by do not change, then that is when you become a New Year's resolutioner who does not achieve that New Year's resolution. Because when you step into the mind, which is the soul, which is the self, which all these areas Pierre touched on, you need to understand that whatever you set your mind to, your mindset, is going to play a role in everything you do. So if you're someone that, I set new rules for myself, I'm not going to eat past 7 o'clock at night, I'm going to go to bed early. And, as we all know, when you set a new daily habit, it's a discipline, it becomes tough. But if it's the rule to live by, it becomes the norm. It becomes the norm, it's no longer a New Year's resolution, it's a lifestyle. When it's a lifestyle, that means you're living by the rules you set for yourself to how you want to live this life, which allows your goals to then come to you, as Pierre touched on in some regards. You attract the results in, the rewards in. But that's a deep concept, guys, that I believe each and every single one of us goes about on a daily basis. And when you want to step out of your own shell and create a new goal for yourself, if your daily life, your rules, your habits, your patterns do not fall in suit to that or change in suit to that goal, it's going to be that much tougher to achieve it because so many walls are put up and you're the one putting the walls up. We're going to tear them down with these new rules and become the ruler of your own life.
Become the ruler of your own life. And as I've mentioned in a previous podcast, do not overwhelm in the beginning. Start off slow. Somebody at the gym said, as long as you show up to the gym, you could do nothing that day. Just showing up to the gym is the most important piece, right? And when you get started into something like that, like I got into it when we first met was, right after 2020 or somewhere around there. And it was just a matter of going to the gym, making it a habit. I could have done 3 sets of something and then walked away. Right. And it was a win because if it wasn't for that, I would have been on the couch or I would have been doing something different, right? This idea, and this is something that we're going to touch on the next podcast, this whole idea of patience. However, it's very important in what we're talking about right now, and we don't have to go too deep into it, but this idea of I want to lose this much by this date. It's great to have goals, but it's also important to be realistic about them, understand where you are on that path, and do not burn yourself out from both ends from these goals that you have, right? Take it slow. Start off small and build up, and you'll see that instead of saying, well, I need this to be done by this date, and kind of falling off of that because you're being discouraged or things aren't working out the way you had expected, instead of that, you're just taking it slowly and slowly creating that new pattern of life as the ruler that you are.
For sure. And, to expand this for you guys, I know we're touching on gym perspectives. I want to branch away from that now because everything Pierre just said connects to every area of your life. Whether it is business, whether it's your personal goals, whatever it is, it comes down to key concepts where you kind of have to understand how you feel in a certain moment, what action steps you're taking, what you're thinking on, you're focusing on, what you're speaking on for that matter. One thing I love to do with my coaching clients is really diving into the areas that we forget about, which is, as you guys have heard here on Once a Week, your thoughts, your words, and your actions. All these areas, you could be going about your daily life on autopilot. You're not thinking about what you're thinking about. You're not thinking about what you're saying out loud, but also internally. You're not thinking about how you're talking to yourself. And that makes you unaware of certain action steps you're taking. So when you become aware of the action steps you want to take and the rules you set for yourself, regardless of whatever goal it is, everything will start to fall in suit to the changes you make internally. And to step forward in that allows you to then navigate away from negative concepts in your life and step more into positive concepts into your life. And I said this example to Peter prior to us recording today, is your focus points in life is everything. Your mindsets are everything. Because if I'm going to focus on being happy, I'm going to really picture in my mind happiness and gratitude and really what makes me laugh. And I'm thinking on all these things and a smile comes across my face and it's phenomenal. What I'm doing in that moment is setting my mind to positivity, to happiness, towards good feelings and gratitude, everything like this. But what I'm also doing is blocking out the negativity that is in fact around me. So I'm choosing in that moment, the rule has now become, I'm going to focus on these good areas. Doesn't mean the bad areas aren't there, but I'm going to focus on these ones. I can handle those bad areas when I feel better internally at myself and at a higher emotional level. I can then look at the bad areas and be like, hey, well, these weren't as bad as I thought they were. Most people, and I really mean this, most people set their mind to all these different negative areas, unhappiness. And so they start to really focus on what makes them unhappy. But in turn, it's the same exact process, although this time you're blocking out everything that could make you happy that is already around you. So it all comes down to, all right, well, what are you focusing on? What are your thoughts about that you're focusing on? Does it make you feel good? Does it make you feel bad? Does it make you feel like you're joyed and overjoyed and everything like that, having fun? Or is it the complete opposite? Are you then, how do you speak to yourself? And to me, that's just intertwining it all together, but it connects to everything you just touched on.
Yeah, I mean, something that just came to mind is this idea that we always need to be liked by everybody around us as much as possible. We are communal beings. And this idea that everybody around me needs to like me or needs to be happy with me is detrimental to the self. It's detrimental to the ruler that is inside of each and every one of us. Because at the end of the day, the people that stick around are going to stick around. And, I say that from a business perspective as well as a personal perspective, right? If you have a potential something going on or a potential client coming in or something like that, and you just don't have a good feeling about it, it's most of the time you're going to be right, and you'll show it to yourself time and time again, right? And the important thing is to accept the fact that, hey, it didn't line up with that person. It didn't line up with that company. It didn't line up for a reason. I didn't have a good feeling about it. Now I'm going to move on, and I'm going to continue to pursue the other things. And I'm just going to, like you said, I'm going to let the negative parts of that go. And, something with the business side of things, and again, I guess personal as well.
I feel like it all intertwines.
It definitely does. And it's the people that stick around, you are ready and happy to serve and be served by them. It's this back and forth, and it flows, and it's nice. And they reach out and you reach out, and you do things for them, they do things for you. You do things with each other to just enjoy the life that we're living. And it's so important to follow that and understand that everybody else that is around that circle that are you're no longer feeling that way. It's just time to move forward. Exactly. It's time to move on. Don't attach to things or people. And honestly, I mean, for me, that's something that I've really enjoyed recently for myself, that I'm really realizing is like, hey, people come and go as they're supposed to. And it's very important to just allow that to be.
Yep.
And yeah, sure, every once in a while, you got to fight for the things that you want in life. And you definitely have to pursue the things that you want to pursue in order to gain the positive aspects of it. But letting things go is equally as important. It's this 50-50 balance of surrender and pursuit that creates the positive, happy lifestyle that you're looking for.
You have to let things go to allow new things to come in.
Yeah.
And connecting to the point we started on, that is in fact the rules that you live by, your personal rules you live by. So sometimes you have to look at those rules like, all right, well, what are my standards in my life? Can I let some of these go? Can I change some of these? Can these be better? And that is exactly what Pierre's touching on, is when you can let these go, you allow better to come in. But now, to connect it to this example, this is a personal example of mine. I was explaining to Pierre prior to us filming today, is the past few weeks I've had 3, I think, great business opportunities come to my plate. 2 of which I'm feeling great about. I'm like, you know what? This is going to happen. I can see myself in this role. I'm going to run with it. I think I can bring some very great value to these companies and whatnot. I think I need to go for it. The third one was presented to me with a great heart. It was presented to me by someone with some great knowledge of the industry and everything like that. However, I could feel that I was not valued in it. It was as if I was just a number. And that created this negative gut feeling where I don't really care for this anymore. If I'm not going to be respecting this standpoint, should I continue it or should I not? And I think a lot of us go through that on a daily basis, whether it's business in the example now, Maybe that's relationships. Maybe someone does not value you and you continue to stick with that person. Maybe that is some sort of gym goal. Maybe it relates to every area of life, which I love seeing that example throughout this entire message. But with regards to mine, because I feel this negativity where I'm like, you know what, I'm not the love, the positivity, the value that I bring is not reciprocated, and I'm looked at as just a number. My gut feeling sounds like, Bill, you can do without this. With what Peter was just touching on, is that if I do not say no to that negativity, because it could be something someday. It could definitely be something someday. There's no doubt about that. It could create and grow into something phenomenal. But do I want to walk the tough path of annoyance and not being valued to just potentially get somewhere that it could be good? Well, how do I want to waste some of my life to do that? And with the other ones, all right, out the gate, this feels phenomenal. There needs to be some sort of decision making process in you where you're following what your gut, you can call it your heart, you can call it your higher self, you can call it God's direction, you can call it the universe guiding you, whatever terminology you want to choose. But there is something trying to guide you to what is meant for you, and there is something trying to steer you away from what is not meant to you. When you ask for opportunities in this life, I can assure you God will bring you with opportunities. The universe will flood them in. It doesn't mean all of them are meant for you. It means that it's time for you to step up and choose what fits my life, what fits the goals that I want my life to become, and will it get me there? And if that negative gut feeling is there, to me, that's a clear-cut sign, hey, step away.
And let's explore both options, right? Yep. Because it's there's a fork in the road with an example like this, right? Let's say, for example, we have two positives and a negative gut feeling when it comes to these things. All three examples could be perfect things. They're just not aligning with you or me or whoever. Let's say that we hold on to all three and we say, well, we're going to do all three, and this one that I'm not really feeling too good about, I'm going to pursue that anyways. And what happens is it diminishes the light that could have come from the other two because you are holding on to this negative one. And the gut feeling, the more that you start to tune in with that and the more that you start to listen to it, the more you understand that it's there for a purpose, right? And so like the two examples I'm thinking of are going with it diminishes the light of the entirety of all three. Whereas if we were to say, I'm cutting this one off because I don't feel good about it, I'm going to pursue these two, you are lessening the things that are in your mind because you don't have that one on the back of your mind anymore. All these little things that add up in our minds are things that kind of bog us down.
Right.
And the goal of it on a daily basis is to kind of filter out the things that we no longer need or filter out the patterns of, well, I know this is a negative gut feeling, but I'm going to pursue it anyways. And 9 times out of 10, you know what's coming, right? But if we were to go the other option and say, okay, well, I'm cutting this negative one out, I'm just going to pursue these two, those two are increasing the light that is inside of you that you are showing to other people. And it's also, that two could become 10. It's this idea of attachment saying, well, this third one is a third one. I'm trying to build something up and I'm trying to do something here. And we hold on to every single opportunity rather than saying, you know what, this one isn't for me. I'm going to take these two and I'm going to run with it. And I'm going to hope that I'm going to create more in that direction.
Right. And that to me is, we go really deep in these podcasts and, everyone's heard the law of attraction before, but not too many people look at the law of resonance. Law of resonance is what energy you resonate at, and so if you're experiencing joy, love, compassion, gratitude, whatever it is, you are resonating in a very great energy. So people feel that. And then you start to attract in more of what you resonate at, which in fact is joy, is gratitude, is love. So you're creating your own reality. You're creating opportunities. You're creating love around you based on the love that you live at. And that goes the same for the lower level of the spectrum too. If you're depressed and you're resonating at a level of depression, you tend to attract in more that is depressed or negative or lower level. It's just what we don't look at in life, but it's how we operate. So with regards to what Peter was just touching on, when you say no to one opportunity and then you move towards the other two, as he said, that can open up 10 opportunities because now all this positivity is flowing, this positive energy, this joy, this love, everything that makes you light up in life is now getting ignited. So you're living in a much greater feeling tone, which then impacts every area of your reality. You're resonating at a much powerful level than what it could have been if you were divided into these three areas and this one area is just you're not feeling it, it's dragging you down, it's dead weight as you carry it with you. You got to cut the cord to the dead weights in your life to make sure you can elevate to the level you're meant to get to. I just think that's something that I wish so much we taught that to every generation. I hope that that's something you've heard before, and maybe it's not. I hope it's something brand new that you can really connect with. But that's, we connect that to how I bring that to students, and I bring that to teenagers, and I bring that to adults of all ages, because if we were taught that at a younger age, it gives us a deeper perspective on how we operate in life. It gives us a deep perspective on our mindsets and our focus points in life that we truly need to grow. So we don't spend the first 30 years of our life trying to find out, where am I supposed to go? If you're following where your heart's directing, your gut's telling you to go, your higher self is directing you to, you can forever know that you are on the right path. But if we don't get in tune to our energy and our emotions and how we feel, we're flying blind. And connecting that to every age, grasping it, if we learn that at a younger age, a younger generation, it just creates a much more positive future for that one person, but then everyone else that they connect to. So we spread it to more and more young people. We then change the future, but then they also take that and spread that to the next generation that's on the come up. So you're changing history. It's just powerful stuff.
It's spreading the candlelight, like we always say. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is people around you notice when you're holding on to negative things because you are kind of dragging it with you, right?
Right.
And when you let them go and you continuously filter out the things in your life that you are attached to, that no longer serve you, patterns that you are holding on to and saying, well, this is the direction that I've always known and it's comfortable, as we've talked about with a couple of clients of yours.
Sure.
And going in there, the people around you see it. And again, as you continuously filter these things out on a daily basis and make it a practice to come forward into as much positivity as possible, the people around you notice. And you notice the people around you noticing, and it makes you feel good because you're being validated on a totally nonverbal level by the way people look at you, the way people act around you, the way people are attracted to you, and just your energy. It's a really cool feeling to have, and it only works when you as the ruler are ruling your life in a positive way and removing the negativity.
Sure. Because in that entire process, for you to even get there and realize it, you got to change the rules behind how you see the world, right? And as we talked about and what we started with, New Year's resolution, whatever it is, focus more on the rule fact. What are the rules you live by? What are the rules you're moving forward in your life by? And if they're not getting where you want to be, all right, well, let's change them. I think a lot of people become so set in their ways that they're so afraid to change how they see themselves in the world, or how they see the world around them, or just how they live. But the point of life is to evolve. The point of life is to grow. And it's to realize these deeper concepts within yourself, to change your reality, to change your life, and to step into something greater for yourself, which means you're becoming greater in yourself. But where to really connect all these areas together, you got to be able to say, how am I living?
I mean, at the beginning of your journey, I would say, what are some things that you were holding on to? It doesn't even have to be at the beginning. It could be at any point in your journey. What are some things that you were holding on to that you felt such relief of for letting go? It could be patterns of your life. It could be things in your life. It could be any aspect of your life that you made a realization that I have to let this go in order to continue forward into the positive direction that I'm looking to go.
Yeah. One word, pain.
Yeah.
100% pain. I say that because I can remember it vividly, but I say that more so because I know so many people in this world, maybe listening and viewing right now, we think in this life that when pain happens to us, well, obviously it doesn't feel good, but we want that feeling to go away. and we'll do everything we can to change. And that's exactly what I did. I went full speed ahead, blinders on. I'm going for this momentum. I'm going to make this thing happen. And it created progress for sure. But the further progress I made, it was that dead weight.
Yeah.
I'm carrying this pain with me that wants to heal. There's a part of me, a part of my heart that's saying like, stop, man. You don't need this anymore. If you let go of this pain of your past, watch what happens in your life. But because I was carrying it with me everywhere I went, people saw it in me. I started connecting more to pain points in other people, which did not make for a healthy standpoint in certain areas. But when I came to the realization point where I'm like, dude, what? Like, who am I trying to prove it to other than myself? And because I was trying to prove that this is who I am to everyone else, all that is saying is that I'm wearing a mask of pain. And behind that mask, I should say, is pain. And until I take this mask off and really heal and show people who I am and what I bring to the table, opportunities weren't going to come in. And sure enough, when I had that realization point, I laugh about it because it was probably a painful moment in itself to come to this realization point. We have to change everything up. But I started to just really understand, like, all right, I can't carry this anymore. And when I let that go, oh my goodness, it is like I skyrocketed.
Do you feel in the last decade that your perception of pain has changed? Do you feel as though, like, we can definitely look at pain in a positive or a negative light, and we can say, and you know, from the sounds of it, which everybody goes through, we have these moments of pain, and to be honest, for me, I don't feel as though it's ever going to end. In terms of pain will keep coming in different forms because we are and we have to navigate it as best as possible, right? It's inevitable that certain types of pain will enter our lives at any moment.
Right.
Has your perspective on pain changed over the last decade?
For 100%. Oh my goodness. 10 years ago, so I'd be 20 years old, and at the time of this video, actually, I might be 21, turn 31 in a couple weeks. So, but 10 years ago, I was just a kid that was terrified of pain.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be around it. I wanted to avoid it at all costs, which I think is how majority of us are raised.
Yeah.
It's not wrong that you're raised this way. It's just a parent wants to prevent their kids from feeling pain.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal love by a parent. But life is going to happen. So 10 years ago, oh my goodness, my perspective on pain is different to the point now where it's grown and I can see that pain, this is going to sound weird, pain is a phenomenal thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's an incredible, good thing because pain only comes to you when you need to learn a lesson in yourself and where you take your life. Pain only comes to you when life is trying to get you to move. And so you look at my personal example, I said where I carry pain around with me. The pain I was carrying around with me is what was meant to be used as, Bill, get going. And life was trying to push me. And then eventually, when I started moving, life was pulling me. So it was no longer Bill's stagnant right here, just trying to move with his pain. I believe, in my personal belief, is that God orchestrated this in my life where he was, Bill, pull. I'm trying to pull you here. You say you have these big dreams. You say you have these big goals. I need you to get moving. And then I got moving. And I was just trying to carry my past with me. And I'm trying to carry my past and drag it with me. And God's like, all right, thanks. And then I got to snip the cord, more pain. But then I finally opened my eyes, like, I get it. And now I can look back on all those painful moments, and man, I'm ecstatic. It's phenomenal that I went through all those things because it developed who I am in here. It developed who I am in here. It develops how I see the world, but it's allowed me to help everyone else through that pain much quicker because it's all a process. It's all a journey. You might be going through pain right now, and I hope my story does not take away from what you go through, but I say it to you to make sure you realize pain has an end date. And when pain has an end date, that is the date you start to move forward. So your end date of pain and your start date to the new version of yourself are directly related. But it's on you to take a step towards it.
And when we say removing the negative from our lives and pursuing the positive, for me, I think the more that we talk about this, for me, it's more so the perception of what is in front of us, right? Because at the end of the day, we should not run away from pain we have to go through it,
Mm.
and we have to see it in a certain light that allows us to say, this is here for a reason.
Yep.
And, I need to go through this and figure it out. I need to take that mask off and go through what it is that I need to go through so that I can further align with myself.
For sure.
And eventually you start to see the pain and the things that come into your life as something that is inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
And yet our perception of these moments and how we handle them are so crucial and important to how we progress in our life.
Mm.
When we are able to just go through something and allow it to be and pursue as much as we surrender within those moments, but really be in those moments and understand that the light is at the end of the tunnel and that we're looking at that light, and we are when you're on a motorcycle and you are trying to avoid something, if you look at it 99% of the time you're going to hit it. But if you are looking away, if you are looking in the different direction that you wish to avoid that thing, then 99% of the time you will avoid it, right? So as we go through these things, we have to look in the direction in which we are trying to travel, because otherwise, if we're just sitting there looking right in front of us, then we are going to inevitably hit it, right? And that is something that is so important. We have to look ahead and understand that this is here for a reason, and that ahead, so long as we think of it optimistically and understand that whatever it is that we're going through in the moment right now is going to help us actually reach that place, then we no longer run from it. We rather just look at it in a better light.
That's awesome. I got a question for you, but I want to give this an example to connect to what you just said. Because I love the motorcycle example and everything, and we have to look ahead. And I want to empower that even more. I can specifically remember going through my pain, and so people that know my story, you can go watch Billy G's story. Peter did a great interview with it on YouTube. But in one area of the pain was heartbreak.
Yeah.
As much as family fell apart, job fell apart, friends were gone, stress, every area of my life fell apart. But one area was heartbreak. And I was experiencing that so deeply. I never experienced such a deep pain as that at the time. And I can specifically remember I was talking to my mom, and she was, as a mother would be, was terrified for me because I was so depressed. I was so just experiencing pain at such a high level, and I couldn't take it. And I remember I had my head down at the kitchen table, and she just goes, "Bill, I just hope that you'll get through this someday." And it's like I came out of the pain, and I was like, of course I'm gonna get through it someday. I just gotta go through it now. And then I went back into my pain at the kitchen table. But that to me always stuck out because I already knew in my heart there was a light at the end of the tunnel. I already knew that what I was going through was because I was meant to go through it. And when your soul is trying to tell you that perspective, at the time, I didn't give it a second glance. I had to get through it to realize that moment back then was trying to direct me, like, hey, yeah, it sucks right now, but get ready. It's about to get so good if you let this go, if you move forward. Everyone has their own way of letting go of pain and processing it. It's not a timetable thing. It's your own ability to move forward at your own pace. With me, it took me a while to come out of that pain, but where it all led me is phenomenal, and I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah.
But that's just a way to empower. We have to be able to look forward, and there's something trying to tell you what's forward all along. But I have a question for you. I know we'll hit the last few points, and we'll close this thing out. But a question for you is, you asked me about a pain point. I know in certain videos, most recent videos, we've done a lot on my story. There's a whole invested on that. We've touched on your motorcycle trip. We've touched on your world travels, your traveling teacher concepts and everything. But what's a pain point for you that you had to process?
Something that I really let go a lot is helping everybody with everything. Being the person that if anybody came up to you with anything, you would go up and help them fix it. And I have really created boundaries around that with the people around me. Not that I'm not willing to help, I'm just not willing to lose myself in order to help you. And I'm not willing at this point anymore. I'm not willing to put my energy into a brick wall of something that somebody says they may need help on, but is not willing to really go through in that moment, right? And so because that is something that I've done in my life a lot, is I've put a lot of energy into brick walls that have never broken, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And it's something that I really had to go through and learn, to the point where, now I really listen to myself more and more of, is this something that is worth helping that person in this moment, or maybe they need a little bit more time, or maybe I need a little bit more time, right? And really kind of trying to balance out the fact of what I used to do is just spreading myself water thin.
Yeah.
And I talked about people in my family, my aunt, and other people as well, who grew up doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And they realized it at 60. And they say to themselves, I really shouldn't have done this, because they're absolutely exhausted.
Yep.
And yes, it's a noble thing to help the people around you, but it's also important to understand where your limits are.
Yeah.
And there are times where you have to surpass those limits in order for the family to continue moving forward. But at the same time, it's this constant give and take. And that's why I say it's on a daily basis, this idea of us having to filter things out of our lives on a daily basis, because tomorrow something could go catastrophically wrong and you really got to buckle down and you got to figure it out. But the day after that, you can reassess every morning when you wake up. You can reassess and say, what am I going to put my energy towards today? And what are the things that I should probably don't feel right and I probably should not be putting towards today?
Yeah.
Right. And so that was something that I really had to figure out. And it took me a long time to do so, and I'm really glad that I did. Yeah. And again, I mean, the motorcycle trip helped me in so many ways, and that was one of them. It's just holding myself, keeping my cup, there, so that I can help from that cup, and making sure that I'm not losing myself in the process.
Yeah.
And again, that's the daily practice.
No, that's awesome. And I've gone through that same process where my entire younger life was spraying myself in.
Yeah.
Trying to help everyone. I think it developed who I am as a coach and speaker, where it's now a calculated or directed help, which is phenomenal. And it only stemmed from being able to spread myself that thin and understand key areas like I'm good at, key areas I'm not good at, what should I help people with, what should I not. Because it's phenomenal to have a loving heart. We want to help everyone. But you can't, as you said, you can't pour from an empty cup. No. And so I've learned that lesson myself. But as you said, brick walls. Yes. And we just started this video on New Year's resolutions, and we'll close it on that concept too for you. Yeah. But I had people reach out to me literally January 1st, and I'm more than happy to help whoever it is. I phenomenally am. But I have to ask them now, are you willing to make this change? Yeah. Are you willing? I asked that to coaching clients, because if you sign up for a coaching session or a coaching package for that matter, where I'm working with you for a couple months, there's a questionnaire you already fill out. So you're already going to find out in yourself if you are up for this and you're up to willing to make a change for yourself. But friends, whoever it is, just reach out to me like, hey, Bill, I please help me with diet, please help me with nutrition, please help me with all this stuff. I'm like, all right, yeah, sure. Like, what's your goal? And then like, Bill, can you just send me nutrition plans, everything like this? I'm like I have to calculate in my head, like, I already catch a vibe that this person's not going to follow through with it, because they may have asked me years ago, and it's been a repeating cycle that this person is not willing to follow through on it. Am I still going to send them something? Yes, but it's not the same energy that it could have been. Yeah. Because when I talk to someone, I'm like, hey, like, I've written numerous workout plans for people in the gym, just out of the goodness of my heart, and I already know in sending them this, they aren't going to follow through. To the point where someone I wrote a workout plan for last year came up to me last week and goes, hey, you wrote a workout plan for me last year. I appreciate it. I didn't do a thing. What can you tell me right here, right now that I can do to help with this? I'm like, why should I give you something? Yeah. And I made sure he knew that my, aggression was at a different level, because I'm like, you just told me, you asked me for help in the past and you didn't follow through with it. Why should I continue to give you help if your repeating cycle is no, I'm not going to do it. And so I just say all that as an example where, like, people can beat brick walls, but connecting this to the New Year's resolution point we set on, if your resolutions, your goals are set, phenomenal. I'm happy for you. But if your rules are leading you into brick walls you're unwilling to change, then you got to tear those brick walls down. You got to change the rules around. You have to become the ruler of your life, not the external. Because if we're going to end this on a key point, I think we should end it on the fact that people make these New Year's resolutions goals to impress other people, like losing weight. But I hope people want that for themselves,
right?
Not to look good for other people, to look good for you. When that self-love escalates, oh my goodness, does life become phenomenal. But you do it for you, and then everyone else receives something from that. And that's what we were talking about with energy earlier. But if you set a New Year's resolution goal, and all your rules are built around what other people are trying to do, what other new fad is in, all you're saying to yourself is like, yeah, I'm going to give it a shot. And, but because it's built on the external, it doesn't really have that internal ruler, that internal energy, that vibe, that positive energy behind it that's going to help you and see you through to the finish. That's discipline at its finest. But if it's for the external, oh, wait, no, well, this was the fad, but then the fad changed 2 months later, so I stopped following this. I'm not going to do that anymore because it's the new thing now. I'm going to start this. Well, now you just have all these random rules of your life that could help you, but you never gave the full energy to, so you didn't get to the level you could have achieved. If you're going to say a New Year's resolution goal, set a new rule so you can achieve the resolution. Become the ruler of your life so the resolutions end up becoming resolved. And at that point, game over. You can choose whatever area of your life you want to move in. You go for it.
Resolutions are what we're saying. Resolutions are out and the ruler is in. The resolutions are out because, like you're mentioning, they are based on the external. They're based on time. When January 1st comes in, I'm going to start doing this. And you are no longer relying on the internal. You are relying on the clock to when you will allow the internal to begin doing something. But when you become the ruler instead of the resolution setter, and you allow yourself to truly rule your own life, because you are the only person in your life that can rule your life. And if somebody else is trying to rule your life for you, you have some looking in the mirror to do and some changes in your life to kind of follow. And that ruler, the more and more that you align towards that true ruler that is inside of you, that is your true self, the more that you begin to feel free from the things that are around you. And like you said, the internal, by doing things to show them to yourself and do them for yourself and enjoy them for yourself, the people around you benefit so much greater than if you were to simply do it as a resolution or as something to show the external that you're doing it. And that internal piece, that living for yourself, doing the things you want to do, not doing the things you don't want to do, that is the key to the candlelight that we talk about.
Yeah, 100%. That's a powerful period to the end of this key point on resolutions and rules. But to finally end it now, guys, I want to put it out there to you. What is the change that you want to make in 2024? And heck, put it in the comments if you're someone that will back you 100%. Heck, if you commented, I'm going to check in on you through that comment to make sure you're sticking to it. But if you're going to set a New Year's resolution, if you're going to set a goal for yourself, if you're going to set a change that you want to achieve in 2024, I want you to do something. This is a little assignment right now. Is at some point this week, whenever you watch this video, heck, do it right now when it's done. But grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, everything we have here. And I've said this before in past videos. Nothing is more powerful than your mind, a pen, and a piece of paper. So if you have that goal, I want you to write at the top of the paper. I want you to write down what 3 rules you live by right now that are getting some result. I'm not going to say they're not getting results. They're getting some result. No matter what, your rules bring results. And look at those 3 rules. And then below it, write down 3 rules that no matter what, you can see, like if someone were to follow these, they'd achieve this goal right away. And when you have those new 3 rules down, I want you to really sit down with yourself and say, all right, can I make these changes? Can I achieve this? If you just do one of those new rules, phenomenal. You're going to see progress. You do 2, you're on your way. you're going to achieve it regardless. 3, life change happens like that, and the discipline in yourself becomes so much greater. But that's a self-improvement process, personal development process. That is you working on you. But until you actually sit down and look at the rules you're living by, you might not change. But to really step into those rules and change them, you can assure yourself that change is going to happen. Take that assignment, guys. Run with it. Work with it. Comment on this video. If you want support with that, reach out to me. Heck, reach out to Peter on social media, on email, whatever it is. But we want to help you with these goals leading into this 2024. But all that being said, Peter, is there a final message you want to add to them right now?
I would say
we touched on so many areas.
The number one most important thing that you can add to your life is the ability to see the power that's inside of you and the ability to remove the power that you give to the people around you. Set healthy boundaries. Work towards setting better boundaries with the people around you. That it could include removing them completely. It could say simply just kind of pump the brakes on what is going on between you at the moment. But the boundaries and the ability to say no and the ability to accept that not everybody around you is going to like you, allow that ruler that we've been talking about this whole time to really shine through. And that is what you want in your life. And the further that you go towards it, the more that you start to benefit from it. And the more you start to see it, you get validated within yourself because you are listening to that ruler, and you are being validated by the people around you because you will see people become more attracted to you, not in a romantic way, just in a life and energy way, right? And that is the gratifying thing, the proof that you are doing the work that you need to do. So go ahead and do it.
Oh, that's awesome. Guys, all these key points we talked about today, you take one of them, it's going to help you exponentially. You take all of them, whether it's in your life, maybe it is a relationship, maybe it is business, maybe it's just self, you want to make something better. Take some concept today, utilize it, and see where your life goes. A change will happen if you make a change when this video ends. And that could be something as simple as picking up a new book in the area you want to grow in. That's going to teach you. Put action behind these changes you want to make for yourself and watch what happens. Life change is right there waiting for you, but you got to put something behind it. Put some discipline behind it. Put some action steps behind it. Put some positive energy and some love behind it, as I mentioned earlier in my own life. And when you let go of that pain that might be dragging with you, get ready. You're about to see life through a whole different eyes. But I thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to close it in a second. Peter, tell them where they can find you.
Travelingteacher.com, any kind of education needs that you may have, if you ever want to chat about anything life-wise in general, shorter talks. Billy's here for the big stuff. And if you want to see more about myself and my motorcycle journey, it's at peter.panopoulos1. That one I really enjoy sharing because it's just such a cool thing, such an important part of my life, and it's just something that people can definitely see and enjoy.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Guys, I thank you so much for tuning in. If you're in need of a coach to help you in any of the areas we talked about today, please head to villagelifecoaching.com. You can set up a free strategy call with me. I'll be right there for you because I want to be right there for you, and I want to make sure this 2024, it's yours, wherever you want to take it. So step up, guys. Let's work together, and I can help you whatever you need. But then also, if you're looking for a speaker to come in to help in these key concepts talked about today, whether it's a school or an organization, your company, your group, whatever it is, that's all there too. To teach these deeper concepts in a workshop way to help everyone in your audience really grow in themselves, which then impacts, as we said earlier, all the results around you. Go check that out as well, guys. But I thank you so much for tuning in here on YouTube. Please like this message, hit that thumbs up down below. Share this message with someone who you feel needs to hear it. If someone popped in your mind at any point in this video, maybe they need to hear that one message too. Send them that clip if you need to. Send them this link, guys, so you can share and help someone else out, because that's the entire reason why we put these together here on Once a Week, is to help people. And lastly, if you're not subscribed to Once a Week yet on YouTube, please subscribe and become a part of the journey. That is the goal, is to help as many people as we can. Lend a hand. Subscribe, become a part of it, and continue to reach out, comment below, send us messages that you want deeper information on. Send us topics you want us to talk on, for that matter. And we're going to be right there for you because we want to help you play a role. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Peter, thanks for being here, brother.
Good seeing you, man.
Awesome. Yeah. Have a good one, guys.
You know I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving it. I'm losing it, I'm moving it. The city is where I'm made, Bostonian flow, I kick it a back day. Yeah, I got game, God in a fan way. We the city of the champs, every sport we play. Spit wetter than the harbor, yeah, I'm flowing like the Charles. I be speeding on this beat, call it Turnpike Miles. Yeah, it's Boo signing on, John to the Hancock.